Feeks to Kawaii Fox News. Did you know that a lot of fox species are actually just fake foxes? They're not actually foxes at all. There's a term used in scientific spaces that refers to some foxes as true foxes. True foxes are foxes that are in the genetic family Canidae and genus Vulpes. What is a genetic family and genus, you may ask? Well, that's a little complicated. A genetic family and genus is like an organism family tree. Organisms are first categorized by domains, which are bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. These organisms are organized by how their cells are made up. So, the domain you really have to understand is, because it's what we're focusing on, is the domain eukarya. Within eukarya, there are 4 kingdoms, classified as protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. I assume some of those sound at least a little familiar to you. These kingdoms are split up based on how their cells and overall organisms function. From here, the classifications get more and more specific. Not only will organisms now be classified and linked together because of their genetic common ancestry, how similar they are to each other matters as well. For your knowledge purposes, Canidae is more of a broad classification than Vulpes is. Some in-between classifications are phylum, subphylum, class, and order. All of these are in between kingdom and genus. But they're not really important to know and to understand for this video. Maybe it'll help you on a biology exam though. The genetic family Canidae holds animals like wolves, coyotes, and jackals. Of course, it also holds the genus Vulpes, or the true foxes. These fox species inside Vulpes all share a common ancestor. They're dissimilar to the point that they're different species, but similar enough to have some genetic information that is the same. However, many foxes aren't actually in that genus. Isn't it so crazy? For example, the gray fox is in the family Canidae, but in genus Orosian. I think that's how you say it. It's as close to a true fox as a hyena is. For example, the only other animal that shares the Orosian genus are island foxes, which I actually want to talk about in a video in the future. I think it would be a good topic. Another example is the crab-eating fox. It's once again a canine, but its genus is Cerdocyon. The crab-eating fox is actually the only member of the genus Cerdocyon left alive. All others are extinct. It's unique and one of a kind in that way. But it's also sad because everything else is extinct. These fake foxes look and act just like true foxes. Their height is relatively the same. Their coloring, blacks and reds and browns and whites, are also the same. Look at how similar these fake foxes are to the real ones. I'll put up pictures here. On the right is a red fox and a Sierra Nevada red fox, both of the Vulpes genus. On the left is a crab-eating fox and a gray fox. Extremely similar animals, but a common ancestor they all might share is millions of years removed from one another. Millions! That's longer than the human race has been around. To help put that into perspective, these fake foxes live all around the world as well. Raccoon dog, genus Nycteriutes. I think That's how you pronounce it. Of course, the subtitles I put in will help. Yes, I know Fox isn't in the raccoon dog's name, but it is considered a fake fox. It has many fox-like characteristics, and it lives in subarctic and subtropical environments, and they're native to East Asia. They're also referred to as tanuki, I believe. Now, the bat-eared fox, genus Otocion, lives in and around savannas in Africa. The Copiozoro, genus Lycalopex, lives in and around South America. These fake foxes are all over the world. The only parts where there aren't many of them, real foxes dominate. Red foxes in Europe and North America, Canadian marble foxes, fennec foxes, Arctic foxes, Japanese red foxes. The only place where there aren't any fake foxes or real foxes, too native to the land, is actually Australia, crazy enough. Their ecosystem is pretty wild. There are invasive European red foxes in Australia, but they don't exactly count because they're invasive. Now, fake foxes have popped up in places where true foxes weren't, excluding Australia. The question is, why? Why are they everywhere? Why does evolution keep making foxes over and over again? What is so special about the fox? Yes, I know. I've left out many species of the genus Vulpes and the other fake foxes, but I'm not here to catalog a list of all of them. I'm here to understand why they exist. There are many shared commonalities between real foxes and fake foxes. Let's go over all of them. Number 1, mammals. All fake foxes and true foxes are mammals, meaning they have live birth instead of laying eggs. We're not counting the platypus in this one, alright? That's its own thing. Number 2, all these foxes have fur. They are all varying lengths, but they do all have at least medium length fur all over their bodies. Number 3, they all have large to medium-sized ears and elongated snouts. Number 4, they all have long, fluffy tails and 4 legs. 5, they're all small-sized predators, meaning they hunt and kill, but they're small. 6, all foxes are omnivores. They all eat plants and meat, even fake foxes. And adding on to that, all foxes, even the fake ones, are something called opportunistic predators. This means they will eat anything they can get their hands on, or paws on, I suppose. Already dead animals, bees, roots, and berries are some of the things they might eat. Of course, as I've said earlier, fake foxes and true foxes all have the same colorations of their furs. They all also have 2 eyes located on their head on either side of their snout. All of this is excluding natural genetic mutations and disabilities, such as being born without a leg, born without sight, albinism and melanism, etc. Now that I've cataloged all of the corresponding similar characteristics, we've got to know why all of these foxes and fake foxes have them. Firstly, let's go over the mammalian quality these foxes have. The upside to live birth is that the pups can't be eaten before they're born. The downside is that a genetic female has to carry the pups for a while, hindering movement and ability to find food, as well as bodily strain. The upside to having fur is keeping body temperature at average levels when temperature drops. Humans don't have that much of this. And the bad thing about having fur all over your body is that you can't sweat when you have too high of a temperature, too high of body heat. Large ears and snouts are good for hunting and staying away from predators. Advanced smell and hearing are of great importance to survival, especially because most animals are colorblind. Of course, one of the most notable exceptions of colorblindness in animals are a lot of birds. A lot of birds actually see more color than we humans do. It's kind of crazy. Most land animals have 4 or more legs, good for speed and balance. Tails are for balance too. And fluffy tails are kind of like built-in winter blankets. It's why you might see foxes sleeping curled up, with their tail over their legs and nose. Cats too. You see this a lot in cats as well, but their tails usually aren't as fluffy. Of course, the Maine Coon certainly has fluffy tail. Being small has its advantages and its disadvantages. The smaller an animal is, the less energy it needs to survive. Essentially, that means it has to eat less food to keep going, day to day, less water as well. However, the smaller an animal is, more likely it is to become prey. An example of a small-sized predator that is also prey is a cat, unfortunately. Foxes, however, are several times larger than a cat usually, and possesses more of a threat. All foxes and fake foxes are omnivores and opportunistic predators. This makes foxes super adaptable. If one source of food is suddenly unavailable, they can easily turn to another. They can do this over and over and over again. Honestly, I can't really think of a downside to being an omnivore, other than needing more nutrients and sort of varying nutrients, like us humans do, to stay healthy. Now, all of this is to say that there are very few downsides to being a fox. Their nature to be able to pivot when shit hits the fan is huge in the unforgiving wilderness, as well as urban environments. Therefore, there is only one conclusion to draw from all of this and all of this research. The reason fake foxes keep popping up is simply that foxes are just the perfect creature. That's it. They are just the perfect creature. Just like crabs, they are optimal for survival in almost every environment. That's it. I'll see you later, freaks.